Good morning, I'm Gary DeWall, and this is Bridging the Week for November 25th to December 6th, and today is December 9th, 2019. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission's Division of Swap Dealer and Intermediary Oversight issued revised guidance for mandatory Chief Compliance Officer annual compliance reports for future commission merchants and swap dealers. The proposed recommendations are not as significant, however, as a look back on how compliance officers and CCO annual reports seem to be heightened targets of the CFTC's Division of Enforcement in fiscal year 2019. Separately, a swap dealer was fined $1 million by the CFTC for failing to make and retain recordings of certain oral communications of its swap trading and related cash and forward transactions for 20 business days. However, given the inadvertence of the incident and the firm's rapid self-discovery and response to its breakdown, was this really a matter warranting an enforcement action, let alone a $1 million fine? I am in London this week visiting the United Kingdom for perhaps the last time before Brexit, so I could hurry around to see some sites and visit clients before I quickly return to New York City. Let's get started. The CFTC's Division of Swap Dealer and Intermediary Oversight issued updated guidance on certain required elements of the Chief Compliance Officer annual compliance reports that must be filed each year with the CFTC by FCMs and swap dealers. DSIO generally framed this guidance in terms of items it believes should be improved based on its review of 2018 CCO annual compliance reports. DSIO principally addressed those portions of the CCO annual reports dealing with areas for improvement, prospective changes or improvements to compliance programs, financial, managerial, operational, and staffing resources, material non-compliance issues, and material changes to compliance policies and procedures. Staff also included recommendations regarding the CCO's annual report's certification requirement and other matters. Although FCMs and swap dealers must pay careful attention to the better practices recommended by DSIO, compliance officers and registrants should be mindful that since late 2018, the CFTC has expressly identified deficiencies in CCO annual reports in enforcement actions and highlighted the role of compliance officers in contributing to their firms' alleged regulatory violations. For details on this, check out the article version of Bridging the Week at www.bridgingtheweek.com. Goldman Sachs & Co. agreed to pay a fine of $1 million to resolve charges brought by the CFTC that on 20 consecutive business days in January and February 2014, it failed to make and retain audio recordings of certain oral communications of its swap trading and related cash and forward transactions. Goldman was obligated to make and retain such recordings as a swap dealer provisionally registered with the CFTC. According to the CFTC, Goldman's failure was initiated by the firm's installation of a security patch on certain software used in one of its offices. This installation required the shutdown and restart of its servers. However, as a result of this process, Goldman's hardware to record oral communications failed, as did the hardware's fail-safe alarm meant to alert Goldman of a failure and to start a backup recording system. Goldman self-discovered the breakdown after 20 business days, fixed it, and put in place revised procedures to avoid a repeat incident. Although the CFTC said an unrelated investigation was impeded because of Goldman's breakdown, it was able to obtain some audio recordings through other means. In its fiscal year 2019 annual report, published on November 25th, the CFTC's Division of Enforcement wrote that a, quote, strong enforcement program is about preserving market integrity, protecting customers, and deterring misconduct in the first place. It's about being tough, but also about being fair, end of quote. It's not clear that under the circumstances, this enforcement action, let alone fine against Goldman, was fair. Read my further thoughts on this matter in the article version of Bridging the Week on the website. Check it out. And finally, as mentioned, the CFTC's Division of Enforcement issued its fiscal year 2019 annual report at the end of November. In it, the division noted that it had filed 69 enforcement actions and had been awarded more than $1.3 billion in fines, restitution, and disgorgement in enforcement actions resolved during fiscal year 2019. The number of cases filed by the CFTC marked a slight increase over the number of cases filed during the prior 5 years, on average, and the amount of sanctions was the fourth largest total in CFTC history. The division claimed that during the last fiscal year, its priorities were the same as fiscal year 2018: ensuring market integrity, protecting customers, incurring individual accountability, and enhancing coordination with other regulators and criminal authorities. 51 of the cases the division brought addressed purported manipulative conduct and spoofing, commodities fraud, misappropriation of confidential information, trade allocation schemes, and mismarking, and protection of customer funds, supervision, and financial integrity. I have a lot more on this report, as well as the annual report issued by the National Futures Association in the article version of Bridging the Week at www.bridgingtheweek.com. Of course, check it out. Well, that's it for this week's edition of Bridging the Week. As always, there's more information in each article and more articles on the article version of Bridging the Week on the website. Check it out. I'm Gary DeWall. Have a nice week, and until the next edition of Bridging the Week, ciao.